were available for everybody, that both the Saquon Barkley free bet as well as the Dak Prescott special boosted bet was going to be available for everybody on Underdog Fantasy. I apologize. I was incorrect. I was mistaken. You have everybody with access to the Dak Prescott special boosted line, where if you include him in a parlay, I don't know the exact details, you can turn $100 into $100. I mean, that was already very exciting. I got a little too optimistic because I thought that everybody had the Saquon Barkley line. I apologize. Looks like a select few do, but I'm going to make this up for everybody because I got everyone a little too excited that was on Underdog. I talked to Underdog today, and if you don't have the Saquon Barkley line, and even if you did have the Saquon Barkley line, as long as you signed up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, you are going to get a free bet next week. I talked to them. We are going to get you a free Patrick Mahomes bet. It'll be just like this Saquon Barkley one, but instead of rushing yards, it will be passing yards. So I apologize for the mistake, everybody. That's on me. I'm going to do my best to correct it, and we are getting you that free bet next week. So if you want to take advantage of that, if you want to go take advantage of this special boosted payout with Dak Prescott on Thanksgiving, already an incredible offer. Now we're just getting you an extra one. Make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. The link in the description, the link in the live chat, the link in the comment section. When you sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, they are also going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. But I think that should be about it. Let's go through. Let's dive into this video, and let's start it off with Mr. Ja'Marr Chase. Now, if we are looking at Ja'Marr Chase here, this is a wide receiver that I understand you already hold him up to a very high standard. Obviously, he already has a tremendous amount of value. But I mean, I recently was on Fantasy Pros looking at the trades that people were actually making with Ja'Marr Chase. And I was thinking, oh dear God, have people kind of forgot the true talent Ja'Marr Chase is? The true upside you are seeing with this Cincinnati Bengals offense combined with this truly special talent. I mean, it looks like people have gone a little wild here, and that with Chase, this will be a wide receiver that I'm willing to actually buy in on if our trade deadline hasn't passed. Don't you forget, Ja'Marr Chase is a wide receiver that has a top 5, I would say, median projection when fully healthy, and the man is healthy now. Joe Burrow's saying that Ja'Marr Chase is going to be back week 12. Have you seen what the Cincinnati Bengals offense has been doing as of late? Have you noticed? I mean, with Cincinnati, over the past 2 weeks, you had a combined 7 or 8 touchdowns for Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon. Now, of course, that made it where T. Higgins isn't crushing. I mean, Tyler Boyd isn't crushing. But still, if we project this out going forward, we know this is going to be an elite level offense. We know that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be putting up a ridiculous amount of points. Now that Ja'Marr Chase is healthy, I mean, go through, please. Value him, view him as a top 10 wide receiver immediately. Don't just forget who the player was because he missed a small stretch of games. But now going over to our next name, we are going to have Keenan Allen, another player that recently came off the waiver wire. If we're looking at Keenan Allen, I mean, I'm sorry, not waiver wire. Someone in the live chat messed this up. Someone who just came off his injury with the hamstring. He was limited this past Monday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. And with Keenan Allen, he was okay. I mean, he came out, he had 8 targets, 5 receptions, and 94 receiving yards. I understand that maybe that's not the usual top 5 finish that you've come to expect from Keenan Allen, the top 10 finish. But keep in mind, he played a limited number of snaps. They were trying to work Keenan Allen into this offense slowly, but going forward, Keenan Allen, I mean, I think you can be very optimistic with him increasing his playing time, knowing that we didn't have any setbacks on that Monday night performance. And even in a limited role, the man had 8 targets. You're getting 8 targets from one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Justin Herbert. I know Joshua Palmer looked fantastic this past week. And yes, like we said, Keenan was on a limited snap count. Keenan Allen is the wide receiver 1 going forward, especially with Mike Williams re-aggravating that ankle injury. I think Keenan Allen is a borderline top 10 wide receiver. I'd be hesitant to rank him there, but that's just for this week. For rest of season, I think he only gets better and better and better as we get further removed from that hamstring. But going over to someone that's been a buy low wide receiver for us pretty much every single video this entire season, Amari Cooper coming out and doing the impossible. Amari Cooper scoring points not in Cleveland this past week in Detroit playing the Buffalo Bills. I mean, we had known that the home away splits have been nasty for Amari. We did say a lot of that's just small sample noise, but it was a little freaky with Amari Cooper with how extreme it was. Well, he comes through 12 targets, 8 receptions, 113 receiving yards, and multiple receiving touchdowns. Now, I have news for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting back to Deshaun Watson very, very soon. And I know people are tired of us talking about it. I get it. We're going to be brief. But the Cleveland Browns did not give up 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson and all the baggage that comes with him, and then pay him the most guaranteed money in NFL history because Deshaun Watson is a bad NFL quarterback. No, Deshaun Watson, historically speaking, has been an elite NFL quarterback. If you look at his career average for his adjusted yards per pass attempt, he would have been a top 3 QB in the NFL last season as his career average. Okay, so please understand that this is a very good thing for Amari Cooper, who's already been dominant, who just showed us that those home away splits were just noise, that you don't have to be worried about it. And he has the #1 playoff schedule for wide receivers. And going over, and real quick, let me give an update just if you are coming in here right now. I'm sorry, this was 100% my fault. This Saquon Barkley line, I thought this was available for everybody. We said it in the video this morning. I apologize. It's available for a select few. Everybody has the special payout booster with Dak Prescott for Thanksgiving. But because of this mistake, Underdog is going to give everybody who has used promo code FLOCK or uses promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy that special free bet next week with Patrick Mahomes over under half a passing yard. So I apologize if you're on Underdog and you couldn't find the Saquon Barkley line. That's my fault. I have it. I think a lot of y'all do, but a lot of y'all don't. But everybody will get the Patrick Mahomes line next week. And if you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, you can find the link in the live chat, find in the description, find in the comment section. Available in damn near every state. Super sorry about it. But going over to Christian Kirk, we are going to be looking at a wide receiver that if you looked at my rest of season rankings a few weeks back, honestly, my fault again, I was way too low on Christian Kirk. We have to give the man his respect. I mean, if you're looking at the target volume that we've seen in the last 4 games for Christian Kirk in Jacksonville, I mean, Kirk, 12 targets, 9 targets, 7 targets, 10 targets. The man's averaging about 9 targets a game in the last month. I mean, even going back to the beginning of the season, that's not too far off of what we've seen. He's had 82 targets through, I believe, let me count this out, 9 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I apologize, 10 games, but he is averaging over 8 targets a contest with Christian Kirk. Phenomenal wide receiver. He's been efficient. I mean, he's averaging 13.1 yards per reception. He's averaging, I mean, he has 7 total touchdowns on the season. So you're getting the consistent volume as well as, I mean, hell, the touchdowns. What else can we ask for? I apologize. I ranked Christian Kirk too low in those rest of season rankings. He is someone that we have to move up. Now, going over to Devonta Smith, we talked about this with the Dallas Goedert injury. We had him as a buy low guy, I believe about 3 weeks ago at this point. This is a wide receiver that the volume is going to go up. Look at what we've had since Dallas Goedert went down. Over the past 2 weeks now, you're looking at Devonta Smith as a wide receiver that's had 8 and 9 targets. I know he hasn't blown the doors off anybody. I understand that, yes, he hasn't just won you your matchup straight up, but we have to be realistic here. Is this going to be a good Philadelphia Eagles offense going forward? I would make the argument this is going to be a great Philadelphia Eagles offense going forward. So I think you have a lot of positive regression coming in for both Devonta Smith as well as A.J. Brown. I mean, here you only had a combined, 37 points scored for the Philadelphia Eagles the past 2 weeks. I think that number goes dramatically up. And if we are going to be looking at the value and the price point of Devonta Smith, if we are going to compare that to A.J. Brown, I mean, I think Smith is going to be significantly more obtainable. With the target bump he's getting with no Dallas Goedert in this offense, I really do like the buy low, as well as if we're taking into account that Quez Watkins most likely isn't going to be catching a touchdown most weeks. Now, going over to Juju, a wide receiver that we had as a sell-high option about a month ago. And the reason for this is we were looking at Juju Smith-Schuster in this Kansas City Chiefs offense, and we were saying, okay, well, if we have Juju, McCole Hardman, Kadarius Toney, Travis Kelce, I mean, there are a lot of names to draw targets. I mean, I was skeptical that Juju Smith-Schuster was going to be able to continue being a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 in fantasy. However, Juju, honestly has a better situation now than he did previously. With Mecole Hardman going to the IR, combine this with the fact that Kadarius Toney has the hamstring injury. I think with Toney, we really need to be worried about injuries. Juju Smith-Schuster has seen his value actually go lower, where in my opinion, his situation has gotten better. So I'm sorry if we had him as a sell-high guy a month ago, but now I'm going to be willing to buy in. Before the injury, back at the beginning of November, you had the 12 target performance, 10 receptions, and 88 receiving yards. Right before that, that's when we were saying to sell him high when he had back-to-back games over 100 receiving yards and multiple receiving touchdowns. But I think the volume's going to be very consistent, where I think if you're projecting this out in an elite level offense, you should be expecting to get close to, about 8 targets a game going forward. So I'm sorry. I hate to do this. I hate to go back and forth on these players. I know it's very annoying, but their situations do change. Now going over to George Pickens, a wide receiver that, is ruining my hopes and dreams with Deontay Johnson. I drafted Deontay Johnson in too many leagues. Deontay Johnson, probably my biggest miss this season. I thought with Deontay, he was going to have the target volume. I was going to be willing to go through and take him at a discount in drafts, given the fact that he was going to get 10 targets a game. And yep, he's getting 10 targets a game, but at the end of the day, it doesn't freaking matter because George Pickens has been so efficient and dominating this wide receiver room in Pittsburgh, where George Pickens has 53 targets and 453 receiving yards this season. If we were going to compare this to what you have with Deontay Johnson in this offense, Deontay, 86 targets. 86. The man has 33 more targets than George Pickens and 3 more receiving yards and 2 fewer touchdowns. Like, Deontay, why are you doing us like this? George Pickens clearly ascending as the true wide receiver 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have to give the man his credit. If you noticed in our wide receiver rankings this week, we did have Deontay Johnson behind George Pickens. I think we had it that way last week as well, but I need to put the official stamp on it that George Pickens is officially the wide receiver 1 in Pittsburgh. And I made a massive, massive mistake to draft Deontay Johnson as much as I did. But I think that should be it. It looks like we just hit 100 likes on this live stream. So thank you so much for your support. Let me remind everybody, because I apologize, it's a massive mistake on my end. It's inexcusable, and I'm going to try to do everything I can to make up for it. This Saquon Barkley line is available to a select number of people on Underdog. I don't exactly know what the specifications are, but the Dak Prescott line is available to everybody on Underdog Fantasy for that playoff boosted pick on Thanksgiving. And because I messed up the Saquon Barkley line and told everybody that you could have it, if you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, next week, I'm going to make it up to you. I already talked to Underdog. We are getting you a Patrick Mahomes free bet next week. So make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. Take advantage of the Dak Prescott line that you have for tomorrow. And then also you'll get that free bet similar to this Saquon Barkley one on Mahomes next week. But thank you again. I truly do appreciate you all. I hope you have a great day. I will be live again tomorrow. Tonight with our running back rankings. Then I'll be live again answering fantasy football questions. I'll be live again tomorrow morning answering fantasy football questions. But if you want to spend that time with your family, God bless you. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And if not, I will be able to see you hopefully tonight.